Imagine two people earning exactly the same salary. One quietly builds wealth until they're financially free. The other stays trapped in the same paycheck-to-paycheck cycle for decades. The surprising part isn't how much they earned, it's how they think. Most people believe becoming rich starts with making more money, but history tells a different story. Some of the wealthiest people in the world started with almost nothing, while millions with high incomes never become truly wealthy. What if the biggest difference between rich and poor isn't talent, or luck, or even education? What if it's simply the invisible habits hiding inside your mind? By the end of this video, you'll never look at money the same way again. Imagine two children standing at the starting line of life. They begin with similar opportunities, similar dreams, and no idea that the choices they make over the next 20 years will lead them to completely different financial futures. At first, their lives seem almost identical. They attend the same schools, earn similar salaries, and begin adulthood with nearly the same opportunities. But 20 years later, everything has changed. One person enjoys financial freedom, while the other is still trapped worrying about every paycheck. Most people believe the answer is simple. They assume one person was luckier, smarter, or born with better opportunities. But history tells a different story. Many people started with almost nothing and still built incredible wealth through consistent decisions. At the same time, countless high-income earners remain trapped by poor financial decisions despite earning more than enough. The real difference isn't visible on a paycheck. It lives inside the way people think about money every single day. Every purchase, every investment, and every financial decision reveals a belief that has been quietly forming for years. Those beliefs often begin in childhood, shaped by the words we hear from parents, teachers, and the world around us. The most powerful financial stories are often invisible. They shape every decision we make until we choose to rewrite them. Think about the last time you received unexpected money. Maybe it was a bonus from work, a tax refund, or a generous gift. What was the very first thought that came into your mind? For many people, the instinct is to spend it before it's gone. For others, the first question is completely different. How can this money create even more money? This single difference may seem small today, but repeated hundreds of times over years, it creates two completely different financial futures. Rich people don't simply ask, "What can I buy?" They ask a much more powerful question, "What can I build?" Instead of focusing on what something costs today, they think about the value it could create years into the future. That one habit changes almost every financial decision they make. Most people never realize they're following an invisible financial script. They repeat habits passed down through family, friends, and society, without ever asking if those habits actually lead to wealth. The moment you question those beliefs, something changes. You stop reacting automatically and start making decisions with intention. Rich people understand that every dollar has a job. It can disappear the moment it's earned, or it can become an employee that works for you every day. That doesn't mean wealthy people never enjoy their money. It means they let their investments grow first, so enjoyment comes from freedom instead of financial pressure. The journey toward wealth doesn't begin when your income changes. It begins the moment your mindset changes, because every great financial future starts with a single better decision. Imagine walking into a room with invisible walls. You can't see them, but every time you try to move forward, something quietly stops you. Eventually, you stop trying, not because you can't succeed, but because you've started believing those invisible limits are real. For many people, those invisible walls are built from old beliefs about money. They quietly influence every financial decision without ever being questioned. Psychologists call these mental models. They shape what feels possible, what feels risky, and what we believe is normal, even when those beliefs no longer serve us. The problem is that most people mistake these mental models for reality. They stop asking whether their beliefs are true and simply accept them as facts. The moment you begin questioning your assumptions, you open the door to entirely new possibilities. Every financial breakthrough begins with a better question. Now imagine two people standing in front of the exact same opportunity. One sees risk, the other sees possibility. The opportunity hasn't changed, only the way they interpret it has. Most people look at a successful business and think, "That company makes a lot of money." Wealthy thinkers ask a different question. What problem does this business solve? Money is often the result of creating value. The greater the problem you solve for other people, the greater the opportunity to create lasting wealth. That's why wealthy people ask better questions. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," they ask, "What would I need to do to afford it responsibly?" The moment you change the questions you ask yourself, you begin changing the direction of your life. Every extraordinary financial journey starts with one better thought. Another powerful shift begins when you stop defining yourself by your current financial situation. Your bank account reflects where you've been, not where you're capable of going. Many people quietly repeat phrases like, "I'm just bad with money," or "investing isn't for people like me." Over time, those words become part of their identity. Wealthy thinkers choose a different identity. They don't say, "I know everything." They say, "I'm learning every day." That small shift changes every future decision. The way you describe yourself becomes the way your brain searches for evidence. Change your identity, and your actions begin changing naturally. Real transformation doesn't happen the day you become wealthy. It begins the day you decide to become the kind of person who can create wealth consistently. Another habit separates wealthy thinkers from everyone else. They don't fear mistakes as much as they fear standing still. Every setback becomes a lesson instead of a reason to quit. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Falling isn't proof that you'll never ride. It's simply part of learning how to balance. Money works the same way. Your first investment won't be perfect. Your first business idea may struggle, but every experience teaches you something valuable. Successful people don't expect perfection. They expect progress. They measure success by how much they've learned, not by how many mistakes they've avoided. The people we admire today didn't avoid failure. They simply refused to let failure become their final destination. That's why resilience is one of the greatest investments you'll ever make. Another habit quietly separates wealthy thinkers from everyone else. They invest in knowledge before they invest in status, because they understand that what you learn today can continue paying you for years. A luxury purchase may create excitement for a moment, but a valuable skill can increase your opportunities for the rest of your life. Imagine spending $100 on something that loses value the moment you buy it, or spending that same amount learning a skill that increases your income for years. That's why wealthy people often ask a different question before spending money. They don't simply ask, "How much does this cost?" They ask, "What return could this create?" Every wise investment in yourself quietly compounds. One new skill leads to better decisions. Better decisions create better opportunities, and those opportunities begin building lasting wealth. Perhaps the greatest shift of all is learning to think in decades instead of days. Wealth isn't built by chasing today's excitement. It's built by preparing for tomorrow's opportunities. The world constantly demands your attention with breaking news, market headlines, and endless distractions. But wealthy thinkers stay focused on what truly matters over time. Think of a tiny investment made every month. At first, it barely seems to matter. But year after year, those small actions begin creating extraordinary results. This is the power of compounding. Progress may seem invisible at first, but consistency eventually reaches a point where growth begins accelerating on its own. To someone looking from the outside, it may seem like success happened overnight, but what they're really seeing is years of patient thinking finally becoming visible. Now let's step away from theory and focus on something practical. Wealth isn't built once a year. It's built through small daily habits that quietly shape your future. One of the most valuable habits wealthy people develop is continuous learning. They understand that every new skill increases their ability to create value in the future. Knowledge compounds just like money. Every lesson improves the next decision, and every better decision creates even greater opportunities. Another powerful habit is protecting your attention. In today's world, attention is one of your most valuable financial assets. Every hour spent learning a valuable skill has the potential to create opportunities that continue paying you long after the lesson is over. The Smart Capital mascot sits at a clean desk reviewing a simple financial dashboard. Charts, savings, investments, and monthly expenses are neatly organized, with improvement arrows highlighting progress. When you measure your progress consistently, small improvements become visible, and once you can see progress, you're much more likely to continue. Patience is another habit that quietly creates extraordinary results. While many people chase instant success, wealth grows through consistent effort over time. The strongest financial foundations are built the same way strong trees grow. Most of the important work happens long before anyone else notices the results. People often celebrate the harvest without seeing the years of preparation, but every lasting success is built on countless quiet moments of discipline that no one else ever notices. So where do you begin? The answer isn't by changing everything overnight. It begins with one small decision that points your life in a better direction. Instead of asking, "How can I make more money today?" ask a more powerful question. How can I become more valuable today? Maybe becoming more valuable means learning a new skill. Maybe it means improving how you communicate, solve problems, or understand money. The more value you create for other people, the more opportunities naturally begin finding their way back to you. Then take an honest look at where your money actually goes, not to criticize yourself, but to understand your habits. Awareness is always the first step toward improvement. Once you understand your habits, you gain something incredibly valuable, the power to change them. Every lasting transformation begins with an honest awareness. Before your next purchase, pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Will this decision make my future stronger, or only satisfy me today? Sometimes you'll still choose to spend your money, and that's perfectly okay. The goal isn't to avoid enjoying life, it's to spend with purpose instead of impulse. The richest investment you'll ever make isn't always in the stock market. Sometimes it's the investment you make in your own knowledge, character, and abilities. Every lesson you learn today becomes part of the person you'll be tomorrow, and the person you become is the greatest investment of all. Now, imagine yourself 10 years from today, not the version of you shaped by luck, but the version shaped by thousands of small decisions made with patience, purpose, and discipline. That future won't be created by one lucky break. It will be built by the quiet choices you make every day when nobody else is watching. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every thoughtful investment you make becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Many people spend their lives searching for shortcuts to wealth, but lasting success has never been built on shortcuts. It's built on character, patience, and consistency. Remember where this journey began. Two people started in almost the same place. Years later, their lives looked completely different, not because of luck, but because of the decisions they repeated every single day. The most important investment you'll ever make isn't found in the stock market or inside a business. It's the investment you make in the person you become. Every decision you make today is a vote for the person you'll become tomorrow. Small choices may seem insignificant, but repeated consistently, they shape an extraordinary life. The goal isn't to become rich overnight. The goal is to become the kind of person who naturally creates opportunities, solves problems, and builds lasting value. Your financial future isn't written by luck. It's written by the decisions you repeat when no one is watching. Those quiet moments become the story of your life. So start today. One better question, one better habit, one better decision, because the future you dream about begins with the choices you make right now. Thank you for watching Smart Capital. Subscribe, and let's keep building wealth, one smart decision at a time.